This whole Federal Reserve interest rate, are they going to raise again? Up, inflation is sticky. It's giving me agita for crying out loud. The Federal Reserve can't fix inflation with higher rates. Can't do it. Powell, Federal Reserve, they have zero control over fiscal policy. They have zero control over government regulations. That's what's driving inflation. Jay Powell is he's a wimp. Guys, he's afraid to tell Congress what they need to hear. It's their ridiculous spending that's causing all this. You raise rates all you want. Go ahead, check if you don't believe me. Take a look at all of the government projects coming from the Biden's first almost $2 trillion post-COVID. What they even call that thing? Was it American Recovery? I forget. Then you got the infrastructure bill. You got the CHIPS bill. You got the Inflation Reduction Act, which is probably the most ridiculous names for an act ever. And it's the opposite. All of this money hasn't even been spent yet. It's getting doled out now. What do you think prices are going to go up? It's government spending. It's our ridiculous fiscal policy. And that's what's driving inflation. I was on Mornings with Maria today, and Kevin Hassett, again, I wish I had a chance. Problem with television, sometimes things get bumped around, and I didn't get a chance to question him. And he was, talking about that the Fed really needs to raise rates above 7% and really to knock inflation down. It's going to actually make things worse, because then we're just going to have to borrow more money to pay interest on all of the ridiculous spending that we're doing. I think rates are fine. I don't think that they need to cut anytime soon. I think that that's ludicrous. I really do. I think you need to let money be priced properly. But I mean, you go through some of these things. I'm going to go through a couple with you and use these things as an example. And again, this is problematic on more than one front. We talk about inflation here in this country. It's not just inflation. It's going to be our inability to compete globally. Yeah, we talk hem and haw about China all the time. China this and China that. And the Chinese are going to steal our stuff. They've been doing that for years. Intellectual property, property theft, all these things that China's been involved with for a long period of time. We know all of this, but they still can't beat us if what? If we do business, if we do business the right way, if we don't run the country's economy out of Washington, D.C., this state capitalism that we've managed to get ourselves into. There was a story here about Ford. And we talked about Ford. We talked about Ford and the Lightning versus Tesla. Ford is getting a $9.2 billion low interest loan, below market rate loan. And it's there to build battery factories because the powers that be in Washington, D.C. want batteries. They want batteries. They want to push this issue. If you think that Ford would be going out and building battery factories for EVs on their own, they wouldn't. Take a look. We went over the numbers. They sold 4,000 something Ford F-150 electric trucks. They sold 170,000 combustion engine ones. Yeah, I got a lot of contractors out there, and I've got a lot of contractors and plumbers as clients. Do you think that they're going to go out and spend $100,000 on a pickup truck for their job? No. Anyway, it all has to be run out of Washington, D.C. And that's how China runs things. And we're told, that's the way of the future. That's what needs to be done. No, it never works. Take a look at China. They were supposed to have this big recovery after COVID. They don't. 20% youth unemployment. You go right down the list. So Ford's going to get this $9.2 billion low-cost loan. Okay. What's it going to do? It's going to just fuel inflation. And the projects are one after another, after another, after another. Not to mention, talk about ridiculous spending. Want inflation for you? Oh, you're going to love this, taxpayers. Boeing. Boeing is charging the Pentagon $52,000 for a trash can. For a trash can that was previously priced at $300. Yeah, $52,000 for a trash receptacle used on board an AWACS plane. There's more. New York-based Jamaica Bearings Company sold the Pentagon 13 radio filters. They were priced at $350 each. Hey, Pentagon will pay for it. Just send them a bill. Now $49,000 each. Lockheed Martin jacks up the price. Electrical conduit for an anti-submarine surveillance plane. Yes, they ranked it up by 1,400%, raking in an additional $133,000. Again, that's the Pentagon. They don't care what they're spending money on. Government doesn't care. Every single one of these projects. You want inflationary? Wall Street Journal. Another see I told you so here. Fraudulent COVID aid drove up U.S. home prices in many markets. Every single time, people, the government gets involved, it causes a disconnect. And, Jay Powell's a nice guy. He doesn't want to make enemies there. I'm sorry. Paul Volcker back in the day would have no problem whatsoever calling it out, which he did. There's a fiscal side of the equation. So again, our government can say, oh yes, our deficits are coming under control. No, they're not. They're not. And like I said, the spending hasn't really even kicked in yet. And we're told, jobs market's going to break and unemployment's going to go up. I don't see it. I'm trying to figure out how that's going to be the case when you need to hire all these people for all these infrastructure projects that are all over the country. I don't see it. So, getting back to Jay Powell and raising interest rates. How is that going to help with inflation? How is it going to help with inflation? And again, the idea that inflation is going to come under control with higher rates, going to come back down to 2%. That's their target. It was absurd before when they were telling you it was 2% because we told you it wasn't on the things that are most important. With government regulations going through the roof, government spending, you tell me how that's possible. Explain it to me. All of you people that we need the rates, he's going to have to raise more to get inflation under control. How's it worked so far? I don't think raising rates has done a damn thing. Has it done anything to drive down the price of eggs? No, the avian flu went away. Oh, we got greater supply there. Sometimes it's not so much of a demand problem, people. It's a supply problem. And it's also a government spending problem. It's a regulatory problem. That's what drives up costs, period, the end. And again, obviously, when you increase the money supply, there's that side of the equation as well. But that's being dealt with. It's being dealt with. So again, I don't know what the Fed is going to do next. Maybe they'll raise in July, quarter point. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just telling you, it's not going to do a damn thing. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.